everyone. My name is David McLeod, and I am your life mastery coach and author of the delightful little book, A Life to Die For. I'm also one of the co authors in the best selling series, The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self Care. Welcome to Life Mastery TV, your source for inspiration, empowerment, and fulfillment. This is, believe it or not, episode 233, and today we're going to be talking about true joy for the holidays. Now, I don't know about you, but I find that many people have a love-hate relationship with the annual holiday season. While it can be associated with pleasure and enjoyment, this time of year can also give rise to a lot of stress for different reasons. The pressure to create the perfect celebration, meet family expectations, and manage the financial burdens associated with all of that can take a toll on our well-being. However, there are ways to transform the impending stress into a season of genuine joy. For example, one key to achieving this transformation is setting realistic expectations. It's essential to remember that perfection is not the goal. It's okay if your holiday gathering doesn't resemble a glossy magazine cover, or if you don't have the budget for lavish gifts. True joy can be found in the simple, meaningful moments spent with loved ones. So instead of obsessing over the picture perfect decorations, focus on the warmth of shared laughter and genuine conversation. Practicing gratitude is another potent tool for alleviating holiday stress. Amid the chaos of gift shopping and event planning, if you take a few moments to reflect on the blessings in your life, you can shift your focus away from what's missing to what is right here, right now. And it can infuse the holiday season with a sense of contentment and true joy. Well, for this episode of Life Mastery TV, we're going to tackle this subject head on. And I've invited back my good friend, the queen of true joy, Linda Shively, to help us turn our frowns upside down so we can all approach the holidays with a sense of excited anticipation instead of dread. So please welcome Linda back to the program. Wow, Linda, your timing is perfect. Thank you for rejoining me. I'm really so glad to have you back again. It's been way too long.
It's great to be back.
Yeah. And I know you have been so busy. I've been on your case for almost a year now to get you back on this show, and it's been a challenge because you've been traveling all over the place. You've been getting major speaking engagements. You're now reaching a level where you're way beyond the kind of people I normally talk to. So I'm really excited that you decided to say yes. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing for all this time.
Well, I want to go back to a story from 18 years, 21, almost 2 years ago. The doctor said she's not going to survive to her first birthday. And in my head, I'm like, what do you mean? As I'm sitting there holding my baby 3-month-old daughter. And the doctor says she has spinal muscular atrophy and she's not going to survive. Here's a paragraph. Go love her.
Here's a paragraph.
I was devastated. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. It was the worst day of my life.
Right.
And then I realized Jessica didn't know any different. She didn't know she was supposed to be sick. So I did whatever I could to have her have the most amazing life. She loved to read books. We read books everywhere. She wanted to read in the car. Anytime she could get somebody to read to her, or she would start figuring out the words and the letters herself. Then she got a power chair so that she could navigate the world and drive it with her little index finger, zooming around, navigating everywhere. And her eyebrows. Oh my goodness. I've never seen anybody be able to communicate with their eyebrows like she could communicate with her eyebrows. She lit up a room and could carry on an entire conversation. I've never seen anything like it. Just amazing. Then 2 days after Christmas, 2 days just before her 4th birthday, she was in the pediatric intensive care. And the doctor, the head of the department, who was on his day off, came in to talk to me, and he said, "She's not gonna make it." And I said, "What do you mean? Do you mean I have to pull the plug? Do you mean I have to tell you to kill my daughter?" Just at that moment, all the alarms go off. Beep, 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 beep. People come running into the room. Code blue, code blue. And I couldn't believe it. The doctor was so calm. He just waved his hand, and everybody just stopped. And we all stood surrounding her bed. I picked up Jessica, and she flatlined. And I could still almost feel that life in her, just for a little while. And then it was gone. And I knew I had to make a decision. I had to decide, was her life going to be meaningless? Or was her life going to have meaning? And I decided to continue the Jessica Fernandez Walks to Cure SMA, which have raised more than $1.5 million to fund research for her condition. And now there are 3 FDA-approved treatments, whereas before there were none. And her short life inspired so many people. It left a legacy, helping others survive and improve their lives. And whenever I think of my daughter, I just think about joy. And that's why this topic of joy is so important to me. To live her legacy, to help share that with other people. No matter what is going on, it's possible to have that joy. And I know during the holidays, it's not always joyful for people. People always say, "Happy holidays!" And sometimes it's not. So this is what we get to talk about. What do we do? How do we deal with this? So I'm excited to
Right.
have this
Well,
conversation
first
with
of
you.
all, I want to say I've heard this story before, not in the same level of detail, and certainly not presented in the way that you shared it today. And I'm really impressed with how you have reshaped this story. Um, Certainly not something that most people want to hear about, the passing of one's child. And certainly not something that I can imagine was very enjoyable to go through as it was happening. It was no doubt it took a lot of focus and attention on your part to stay present with your daughter, to be able to give her as much of a positive experience in her life as you could for the brief time that she was here. So kudos for that. Um, that in itself is a highly inspiring aspect of your story. And I would like to know, and I'm sure other people would like to know too, because not all of us are built with the capacity for that kind of compassion and love and joy when we're facing a very, very difficult situation. And I can't imagine anything more devastating than losing a child. So maybe you can share with us a little bit about how you stayed connected to your own essence of who you really are so that you could captivate, or not captivate, but capture that essence of joy from your daughter and then reflect it back to her and keep reflecting it even after she passed.
So I will admit I'm human, and it was not always that easy. there were moments of great sorrow.
Sure. Absolutely.
And there were moments that I realized as I was holding her tiny body, as she was a baby, she was hungry. She needed her diaper changed. She needed love. And she didn't know that anything was different about her. And I was like, huh, okay, how do I step up to do this? And I had also been given the gift of the opportunity as a teenager to work at De Anza Community College, which is a local community college in my area, in the adapted physical education department. And I had met all sorts of amazing people who happen to not have the physical abilities that you and I do. And there were people that were professional tennis players that were paraplegics. And I thought,
Mhm.
really? How? And, my young brain was trying to wrap around this. It was the first time I'd ever seen anybody in a wheelchair. And they were funny and they were living their lives, and being in a wheelchair didn't affect them. I mean, in the sense of they were still capable human beings and able to live life. And I thought, huh. And that seed got planted. I had no idea that it was going to be so that I could help my daughter be normal.
Mm.
Yet I know that that helped. And so
Right.
I had that role model of, just because somebody doesn't have a physical ability doesn't mean that they can't have joy in their life, doesn't mean that they can't be silly, doesn't mean that they can't love people. And knowing that gave me the opportunity to continue living and being around other people and getting connected. I think the connection piece, and this is true around the holidays, when you have other people, whether it's your family, whether it's friends, whether it's your chosen family, because I know there are a lot of people whose family they may not, let's just say, isn't the best, healthiest relationship. And so they pick the people in their life that they want to be around.
Right.
And so whoever it is, having that bond with other people can help build that joy, can help build the opportunity to live. So there's no one answer, but it's taking each moment and moving forward and being able to actually live and be present in that moment. Because I think that's also the key. When we're not present and distracted, we're not actually there with whoever we're with.
Correct.
And so being fully connected in that way as well.
So there's something very, very important in what you're saying here that it's easy to gloss over. And that is, every single one of us on this planet has some kind of purpose, even if it's only for a brief time. We don't necessarily, uh, while looking at someone else, don't necessarily have a clue what that other person's purpose is. So I
Mhm.
may not have an understanding of why someone is born with no arms and no legs, or why someone has, a horrible disease and ends up dying at a very young age, or any of those other answers. A lot of people can get angry at life, they can get angry at God, they can get angry at everything, and all they're really doing, I think, is allowing their own judgment of someone else's situation to make their own lives miserable. And the fact of the matter is, it could be that there's a very good reason why somebody is come into this life in that way, to perhaps inspire us in some way, or perhaps just to accomplish something in a way that most people don't accomplish it. You know, I mean, I remember there was a man who had no arms and no legs, and he decided he was going to climb mountains,
Mhm.
and he does it using whatever body parts he has available. And he came to do a speech at someplace, I can't remember how he did it, and he hobbled up on stage and somehow got up on the podium and was talking to people. Just, and I mean, it was beautiful to watch and just heartwarming to listen to his conversation. And the thing that I think that I got most out of that is, it's not my job to feel sorry for someone. It's my job to be as compassionate and empathetic and open-hearted as I can with everyone, including people who I have maybe an imaginary judgment that they're less abled than I am. So I think that is a really, really important lesson we all need to learn. And it when we can learn that lesson, I believe we just start naturally coming more in connection with our true joy anyway. Now, before I go on, I just want to say thank you for the people who are here in person. Thank you all for being here. If you have comments or questions, please just put them in the chat and we'll do our best to respond to those. So, Linda, I'd like to get us back on the topic of our conversation and really talk a little bit more about, true joy for the holidays, because as you've already said, we all have families, and I would venture to say that almost all of us have at least some level of dysfunction in our families. No family is perfect. Um, Except in the sense that it's perfect to give us the kinds of experiences that we're supposed to have in our lives in order to fulfill our true purpose. But that's a kind of a
But
spiritual thing that not everybody understands, you know?
right. Yes, the
So,
the challenges that we're given so that we can be better, so that we can, yes, all of that.
exactly right. Yeah. And so it's understandable that people see, let's say starting around Halloween. Right around Halloween is when that funny feeling in your gut starts to build up as a result of these, oh my God, Thanksgiving's around the corner, then Christmas. Am I going to get through this time? So let's talk about this and see what we can do to help people stay connected to their true joy as we approach these holidays.
Yeah, definitely. And one, like we've alluded to, but that connection, being connected to the people that you care about is huge. I know the Harvard happiness study has been going on for over 85 years. It's the longest happiness study in the world. And their number one secret to having a happy life is having happy relationships. And when you foster those relationships and build on those relationships, you continue to grow. And
Right.
it may or may not be your blood family. It may be a life partner. It may be a dear friend. But whatever it is, to connect and celebrate, go out with the people, do something. If you aren't able to get to them because maybe they live across the country and you're not able to travel, then pick up the phone, jump on Zoom or whatever technology, that FaceTime or whatever platform you want to use to connect to them, and actually have that human relationship. Because when we foster that relationship, that can bring joy. And continue to find those relationships that do foster it, because not every
Right.
relationship does. And
Yeah.
sometimes maybe you're getting together with the family and there are a few people that you'd rather not spend a lot of time with. Well, talk to other people instead. do
Yeah.
if you have to show up, show up, but
Yeah.
do what you can to navigate that relationship in the best possible way. Because,
Right.
it's like we all have people that we're going to encounter who might rub us the wrong way. And what is there to be compassionate about? How can you learn from whatever they're going through? Because maybe their life has been hard
Yeah.
and
Right.
maybe they're taking it out on you, but that's just because you're right there. Now,
That's
that's
right.
not to excuse it. It just may help you understand them a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have come to the conclusion. Well, I haven't obviously concluded because I'm still here, but I have come to the idea that
Up
every
until now.
relationship, what's that?
Up until now.
Correct. Every, no, I'm not even going to say up till now. Even stuff that's going to happen in the future, I believe this to be true.
Okay.
Every relationship is an opportunity for me to see the truth of who I really am. It doesn't matter who the other
Mm.
person is in the relationship. If that person happens to trigger discomfort or pain or judgment or anything else going on for me, that's about me. That's about my opportunity to look at some part of myself that I haven't yet healed, that I haven't resolved an issue with. And and part of the reason that I think most people want to avoid people who create that in them is because they don't want to look at their own stuff.
Mhm.
So you also said if you want to build happiness, build happy relationships, or I think you were talking about the Harvard study that
Mhm.
they talk about happy relationships. Well, in reality, if you can see relationships as openings and opportunities for you to understand more about the truth of who you really are, then you can begin to understand that every relationship is technically a happy relationship because it's giving you reconnection back to your true nature. And your true
Yeah.
nature is joy. Okay.
Yeah.
I have found that I've had some challenging relationships in the past that I just didn't want to have anything more to do with those people. And
Mhm.
after I acknowledged the stuff within myself and I started to say, yeah, I can see why I don't want to have to deal with that guy or that woman. When I acknowledge that and I heal it, then it becomes easier for me to connect in with my compassion and forgiveness and to say, maybe I'm going to give that person one more chance and see what happens. And often I have found when I do this, whatever it was that triggered that stuff before, as long as I've done some work on it, has less and less impact on me. And now I can begin to see the other person for who he or she is, as well as learning more about myself. That is what a real happy relationship is to me. I don't know if that
I
makes
like
sense.
that. Yeah. No, I guess that would be for probably those who are listening to this. The people that are listening to this can adapt to that. When it's out in the general population, not everybody is ready for that. Not everybody is
That's
ready to
true.
to
Yep.
to look at themselves and figure that out for themselves, that like,
Oh, yeah.
"Oh, I
Uh,
I play a
How
part
many
in
people
this."
do you know say, what? Open up the Pandora's box? Not a chance. I put it
Ex
away for a reason.
Exactly. So depending on who you are and where you are on your journey, what how you define that relationship and that connection and what you're learning from it. Now, I will say there are still some relationships that are toxic, and no matter how much you heal yourself, it may not be the best to spend a lot of time around that person.
That's right. I
So
agree with that. Yeah, yeah.
So that it
I think
doesn't
that
necessarily,
we
it
always
can
have a
still teach
choice.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, we always have a choice about how we want to show up and who we want to show up with.
Right. Right.
And if you decide in your inner wisdom that it's better to maybe let that relationship just go away, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And as you say, not everybody is ready to do the inner work necessary to heal those old wounds, but I think everyone has the power to do it if they want to.
Yes, that I agree with. Definitely. And then another aspect, in addition to like who you're with, what do you do while you're with them? Or what do you do when you're not with them? And one thing that I particularly love is laughter. And the holidays can bring laughter. The holidays can definitely, there can be funny things people say. There are the comics. There are all of the cartoons that we grew up with that now sometimes it's like, is it as funny as it was when we were a kid? Maybe not, but maybe we see something different in it. And now there are new shows and movies. All of it are ways that you can create a time to laugh. Schedule all of the holiday movies or the funny shows that you want to watch. Or you can do something simple like laughter yoga. And I know, David, you've participated in this before, but laughter yoga means you just laugh with intention, and it doesn't have to take any effort. You don't have to schedule it. You can just burst out into laughter, and people will maybe look at you funny, but that's okay. And so, would you join me? Let's just laugh, just for 5 seconds. So just. Okay, we need to go another 5.
Okay, I gotta be careful.
All right. Yeah, don't
I have a condition that if I laugh too much, I start coughing like crazy. So
okay,
I have
well
to be careful.
we'll stop it at that. But the point of laughter.
But I agree with you. Laughter is great. It feels great, and it just releases all those endorphins and releases stress. It's amazing.
It's amazing. You can do this while you're driving. You can do it like if somebody cuts you off, instead of yelling at them, start laughing. It's a tremendous stress reliever. I will find if I do something and I'm frustrated and what happened, or technology. When I love technology when it works.
That's right.
Sometimes it doesn't work the way I expect it to, and it can get frustrating. And so instead of getting, when I catch myself getting frustrated, I'll pause and I'll just laugh. And it breaks the tension. It makes it much easier to think. It makes me feel better physically, because studies have shown that it actually levels out your blood pressure. It helps you with, like you were saying, the stress hormones. It reduces the stress hormones. It increases the endorphins. So you actually feel good. And if you laugh long enough, it's almost like an exercise, so that you can, shave some time off of going to the gym. You can just laugh.
That's right. Yeah.
And it can be fun. So doing laughter, whether you turn on a comedy show or listen to some funny show or watch a cartoon, or laugh, just intentionally laugh. And the holidays are the perfect time to do that, whether it's creating that environment where people are laughing together, or again, just bursting out laughing. And I kind of dare you to go just go somewhere, like in a store, anywhere, and just start laughing and see what happens. And yes, there are going to be people who look at you funny, like, what are you doing? Why are you laughing? And then there'll be people that start joining you, because laughter is contagious. And that's the one thing that's okay to be contagious. And let's share more laughter.
Yeah, you could you grab a partner. I like this idea. Grab a partner and go into a mall or something, and you both agree that you're just going to laugh like crazy, not necessarily at the same time, but you could be, one person will start and the other person across the room after a couple of seconds will just start bringing it in, and then see how the rest of the crowd reacts.
I love it.
Yeah. You create your own little, what do they call those? I can't remember the terminology.
Flash mobs.
Mob. What? Flash mob? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
A
could be
laughter flash mob. That would be. I'm gonna write that down as an idea.
well, and the other thing is you could take this to your family and you could just, I don't know, at some point during the festivities, you could just say, hey guys, I have an idea. I wonder if you'd be willing to join me. I mean, when was the last time we all just laughed together? And they're going to start looking at you like, what the hell are you talking about? That's fine. Just have the courage to say, I learned this trick from Linda and David, and I would like to share it with you. I think it might be fun. Who knows where it'll go? But I'm going to start laughing, and I just want you to start laughing with me. And let's just take it as long as we can until we're falling on the floor. And it might take 10 seconds. It might take a minute. It might take 5 minutes. But I think the mood in the place will change dramatically. And people will start to see each other in a whole different way.
Definitely.
I love this idea.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And to add to that, if there is a conflict, laughter can also be useful. So have you ever learned the language of gibberish?
Not specifically.
Okay. Well, I'm going to teach you a new language. So the language of gibberish is nonsensical. It's just sounds. There's no actual words. It's just
Okay, like Steve Carroll in Bruce Almighty.
There are many examples of it. It's kind of like the adults in the Peanuts cartoons. Wah, 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 wah. It just no actual words. So using gibberish when you're upset with somebody and you need to let off the steam, you can argue in gibberish. However, you have to also follow it by forgiveness in gibberish. And the two parts are very important. You can't just do one. So you argue in gibberish, and then you pause for a little bit, and then you forgive in gibberish. And it shifts the energy. So are you game to try this? Will you play with me?
Oh God, we've gone nuts on this show anyway, so let's just do it.
So we'll just argue and then we'll forgive. So ready? Just
what is gonna happen? I have no idea what just happened there. I'm sure someone's gonna take this snippet out of this video and post it as a meme somewhere and say, this is our politicians when they actually talk to each other.
But if they actually did it this way, we'd get so much more done because it's like just because you can't be serious after that. And see the joy of this.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
How to have more joy during the holidays. So if there's a conflict,
I know.
If there's a conflict, do this exercise, and then you can actually talk about what really matters.
Right.
Because you get all the debris out of the way, and then you can have the meaningful conversation.
Well, that's true, because in virtually every argument, usually it's resulting from polar opposite perspectives on a particular topic. And usually it's a hot topic like politics or sex or religion or something like that. And so when we stop arguing and actually start listening to the other person and then asking questions to get deeper understanding without judging the responses or anything, you can get to the same place. You can find that, oh God, so you really are interested in this. Well, so am I. We have that common ground. It's just that we had two different approaches to achieving that common ground. And I think what's beautiful about this gibberish approach is it allows us to get the energy out, come back to a place of forgiveness, and now maybe we can get down to that nitty gritty, the stuff that's really important, like you say, without going through all the comprehensive understanding part of the listening.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a tool that you can use. And I kind of recommend that you clue the other person in about this. However, you don't have to. If you but allowing, bringing that into the family, bringing that into your friend group, bringing that into work, even just having the ability to let off the steam and then forgive and get back to what really matters.
And what
And
really matters anyway? What really matters is connection, love,
connection. Yeah.
oneness with the family. I mean, yeah, you may not like everything about them, but they are your family. They are your blood, for the most part. And the family of choice, all right, they may not be your blood, but you have chosen them for a reason. And I guarantee you're going to have conflicts with some of them at some point.
Hmm.
There is no relationship that has no conflict. If it has no
Exactly.
conflict, then there can be no growth.
Right.
So, things are going to happen in every relationship that are going to be uncomfortable. Now, the question is, how are you going to deal with it?
Hmm. Yeah. And having the tools to be able to deal with it in a healthy manner for yourself, because you can't control what the other person does
That's
and
right.
or how they act or what they think, but you can focus on yourself. And if you're in a good place, then you can show up in a better way with them and hopefully guide it to a healthy level, and maybe not, but you can do your part.
I'm going to try this exercise, the gibberish exercise, with my son the next time he comes to visit. Um, yeah, I think it'll be fun. He'll go for it. He's always open to that kind of stuff. He'll probably be both of us falling over laughing. It would be so silly. But no, I think it's a great exercise, a powerful tool for releasing energy, like I said, and getting back to that truth of who we really are. And I know with my son and me, it would end up in a big hug for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And that, I mean, that is great because that's what you're wanting, is you're wanting that connection and you're wanting that way.
Right.
And so all of these different ways to get to that joy, it doesn't, you can try it from this direction or this direction, but you know
Well,
that,
what's interesting, I just mentioned the word hug, and you talked about all the benefits of laughter. Well, there are a lot of great benefits just from a simple full body hug with another human being, you know,
mhm,
uh, especially when you can get your heart centers connected, because there's just so much release of stress that comes from that. And we need touch, we
mhm,
need to be able to touch each other. And not all touch is sexual, it isn't
mhm,
intended to be, but there's a lot of beautiful touch that can be extremely healing. And hugging is one way to get that, provided both parties are committed and have the intention of making it a healthy hug.
yeah,
The other thing that I learned at the Human Awareness Institute is that, well, somebody asked, how long should a hug last? And the answer is very simple. A hug lasts until the first person decides it's over. When I say the first person, I don't mean the person who initiated the hug. I
right,
mean the first
right,
person who says, okay, I'm done. And that's it.
yeah,
That's when the hug is over.
yep,
You could stay there for 10 minutes if you both want to, but either one of you can say, all right, thank you. That's beautiful. And I'm complete. So hugging, that's another topic. I could do a whole course on hugging. I'd love to. Yeah, one of these days.
Yeah, I mean, it is an amazing, and I like that definition because it's true. And you can tell in a hug when somebody is done, whether it's you or the other person,
Right?
and it's just like, okay, we're done.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And if
And
somebody
like I
tries to
said,
hold on
I like
longer,
when I hug someone, I really like to make eye contact first, and then just open my arms, and then just kind of go in chest first, heart first, and then just wrap around and feel the energy moving between the two of you, and just stillness. None of this patting on the back stuff. I mean, that's just distracting. Just hold it. That's it. Um, when I hug like that and the other person hugs me back in the same way, it feels absolutely magnificent. You know, when I get the pat on the back, I know this guy usually is not comfortable, and I'm not going to try and hold the hug any longer than, you know. So there's all kinds of cues that you can receive from the other person during a hugging session. But the benefits are immense. And if you're not feeling joy after a hug, believe me, then something's not right.
go find somebody else to hug.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's possible to hate somebody while hugging them. Okay,
Yeah,
I should be a little bit careful about that. Certainly, there are times when someone who is in a place of power demands a hug from someone who is of less power, and then it doesn't feel safe.
right, right.
But what I'm talking about is an intentional hug between two people who have a mutual respect for each other, and
Mhm,
there's no real power differential between the two.
right. And I want to actually, having you say that, I want to bring that point up because sometimes in family gatherings, especially with kids, it's like, oh, come give me a hug, and come
Right.
on, and the kid is like, ah!
That's right.
Honoring the kid, honoring the child, honoring, and not just the child, it could be anybody of any age. What is it that they need and want? And
Exactly.
allow that relationship. So I have friends who have twins. One of the kids runs up to me as soon as I see it, gives me a big hug. The other one adores me, is like running to the door to greet me, but then will back away. And so I'll
Right.
just say hi, and when she's ready, she'll come over and give me a big hug and curl up in my lap. But I have to wait until she's ready.
Of course.
And so I've learned that, and I try to model that for other people because some people it's like, oh, let me squeeze your cheeks and let me give you you
Leave me
know,
alone.
it's
That's
like
right.
no, just
Well,
so.
speaking of this, there's a language that I think we can use that really is helpful. Rather than saying, "Hey, give me a hug," or "I want to give you a hug," or anything like that, pause and say, "Would you like to share a hug with me?"
Mhm,
Now it's a common thing that you're sharing between each other.
mhm,
And if the other person says no, say, "Well, thank you for being true to yourself.
mhm.
Maybe we can do it later, or maybe not at all. Whatever. Don't be offended if someone says no thanks.
Yeah,
You know, it's
there are
not
some
about you.
people. No, there are some people who do not like hugs,
Right.
and they don't like to be touched, and that's or they have very specific boundaries around that, and that's totally fine.
I just noticed Kathleen put in the chat, she said, it's the energy when two souls connect and acknowledging the heartfelt empathy. That's a
Mm,
beautiful description of
yeah,
what I think a hug is.
yeah,
But it's not just a hug. I mean, any connection between two people can feel like that. You don't have to have the hug to do it.
right. Yeah,
Hugs are nice, though.
hugs are nice. Yes, I know that, and it's been a while since I've had a hug from you, but I do remember the hugs from you,
Right?
and it's yeah.
Yeah. Well, it has been a while. I mean, I've been living here in Meridian now for 6.5 years. So it's been at least that long.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Probably a little longer than that because I think I hadn't seen you for a while before I moved.
Right, right. So other ways to find happiness during the holidays.
Okay.
Get moving. Be active. Cambridge University studied happy people and found that people who are active are happier. So don't just sit like a lump.
That's right.
It's like get outside. I know some people, I mean, right now here in California, it's gorgeous. We're having 70+ degree weather. It's beautiful. I recognize that not every place has that. I've seen pictures of beautiful snow and I've seen quite chilly temperatures. Getting some fresh air, moving your body, whether it's, I always tell people, drink a lot of water. And they look at me like, why? Like, because then you have to get up and go to the bathroom. It's like at least you will move from your seat to wherever
Right, right. Well,
But
there's another aspect to this of staying active that I just want to address.
mhm,
Um, Being active doesn't necessarily mean you're physically moving your body around, but you are doing something that is constructive and in alignment with your purpose.
mhm.
If everything you do is in alignment with your purpose, you're going to find that you're just going to be enjoying yourself a lot more. I think the Japanese called this ikigai or something like that. And in fact, they have done some studies in a couple of places in Japan that indicate that people live longer lives when they have more ikigai. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that word. I think that's
I
what it is.
think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's basically a connection to your soul's purpose for being. Well, how do you get connected to your soul's purpose for being? That's the challenge that most people face. And really, I for myself, I believe that the true answer to that is you cannot possibly have a true purpose for being until you know, without a doubt, with total clarity, who you really are. Your purpose emanates from that knowing. Now, that's certainly been true in my life, and every other person I know who has a clear connection to their purpose agrees with that statement. Does it mean that it's absolutely true? No. It just means that's what I believe. That's all. And I know, Linda, you are so focused on joy. You have found your purpose. You may not have articulated it that way, but it's what keeps you going, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so all of your activities, whether they're physical activities or sedentary activities, it doesn't matter. They're all driven by that one purpose. And that is what gives you your sense of joy.
And doing, like you said, doing something. So back to the ikigai. I mean, it's also moving how they're moving too, because yes, unfortunately, our lives sit. We're sedentary a lot.
That's right.
And keeping, people say it's worse than smoking to sit all the time. So it's a combination of moving with a purpose, like, and living your purpose. So
That's right.
having the activities in your life, because in order for me to fulfill my joy, if I find myself feeling kind of stagnant in my life, I think about when was the last time I went for a walk? When was the last time I actually did something physical instead of just sitting? And
Right.
usually it's like it's been a while. So get up, go move, and physically, because for me, getting that energy moving also helps stimulate the brain, gives me ideas of what else can I do, how else can I bring joy into the world, how
Right.
else can I live my purpose, how, it's not so much, it's a combination of the mental well-being as well as the physical well-being.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's amazing, isn't it? And all of what we're talking about here, I think we can summarize it in one word, and that is mindset.
Mhm.
The idea that if we have a growth mindset rather than a limited, closed mindset, then when we just automatically look for opportunities to do things, say things, create things that are in alignment with our purpose, right? What do you have to
Right.
say about mindset?
We don't have enough time. There, our
What do you have to
mindset.
say about mindset that will fit into about 5 minutes?
Mindset is the key, because if you are not thinking, if you have what I refer to the joy stealing dragons, and they are these playful creatures that get in our way, that we befriend, but when they're out of control, it's kind of like if you've ever been at an elementary school playground that is not organized and just see chaos, or like kids going everywhere, and they know what they're doing, but everybody else is like,
Right,
ah. That's kind of what the joy stealing dragons do.
right,
And when you're judging yourself or judging other people, when you're second guessing yourself, so there's the dragons are second guessing Sally, making you not stick with the decisions that you make, thinking that, oh, I got to change it, having the belief that you're not good enough. That's no good Nancy. She will always run in circles to help, thinking that you're not good enough. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, no matter what you do, you're not good enough. And then even if you succeed at something, you could have done it better. And she's just
that's
so
right.
critical. And then
Yeah,
there's the perfect Paula, who wants everything to be just so before she'll take any action. And that means
right.
nothing happens, because one
That
in
sounds
life is
like
a.
procrastinating, Paula, to me.
But procrastination is a non-action. So that's a
Yeah,
whole
but if
nother
you're waiting
that's a
for
whole
things to
nother
be
time.
perfect before you take action, isn't that procrastinating?
It is. And
Yeah.
so
Okay,
there
never
are
mind.
many different ways, but also it will be, oh, but I have to edit it again. I have to do it again. I have to keep fixing it. I have
Right,
to,
right, right.
and so
Hmm.
then you don't actually get it finished. Or there is, like I said, judging Jenny, who makes you critical of yourself, makes you critical of others, and makes you think everybody else is judging you when they're too busy being critical of themselves. So it isn't helpful in any way. And like we talked about earlier, when you start to know yourself, then you can have more compassion for other people. Then there's overwhelmed Ophelia. And overwhelmed Ophelia wants to keep you constantly busy, always have the to-do list that is a mile long, so that you're never, ever, ever going to finish it, and act like it's a badge of honor to be busy. Like, oh, I'm so busy. I couldn't possibly do that. I'm so busy. And realizing that it might be excuses, and what is really going on. And all of these dragons, if they're out of control, are not helping with your mindset, and finding
You know,
ways to actually
as you're
tame them.
describing these, I'm thinking I'm so grateful I don't have any joy-stealing dragons because they're all named with female names. But the
Well, and
other side of it
I
is,
did that because I have people talk
you
about
work
that.
with
It's like
women.
these
I
are
got it.
well, and these are my dragons, and I'm sharing them, and your dragons might have different names,
Right,
and
right.
that's fine.
Well, but the thing is, as you describe them, you first said they're kind of playful, but they don't sound playful at all. They sound kind of nasty.
So the reason I say that is it's figuring out how to work with them,
Yeah,
rather than, because with the concept of, oh, I'm going to slay the dragon. I don't like saying that. It's like,
yeah,
we want to work, tame the dragons. Let's get them
sure.
working with us,
Right,
because there are the helpful dragons that might be helping us, and how can we get more of them instead? And
right,
so rather than like it's
right. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes creating a combat or what's the word I want to say? A confrontational relationship with any aspect of yourself is going to, it's going to create this negative energy between the two of you.
Right.
Whereas if you can learn, just like we said with the gibberish forgiveness idea, if you can learn to embrace one another with love and compassion and then come to that place of forgiveness, you may be able to find a way to work together.
Right.
That's See, you call them the joy stealing dragons. I call them shadow
Mhm.
parts of our inner selves that emerge in our ego mind consciousness.
Right.
That's kind of how I see it. So I think we're just talking two different metaphors for the same basic energy. And well, whatever works, if you can get people to do that. Now, I know you have a joy stealing dragon questionnaire or something on your website that
There's
people
a
can sign up for.
y
Can you drop the link in the chat there?
yeah, there's a quiz. It's joystealingdragons.com, and you'll find out which of the dragons is most active in your life right now and find out what to do about it and find a way to navigate it that's specific for that particular dragon. And if you want to have a conversation with me about it to figure out how
Yeah,
to navigate that, we can do that too. There's a way to
yeah,
do that. And so you
yeah.
just
Put
go
put that in the
to
chat.
let me
Um,
ask you for the chat, do I have to put all the HTTPS part,
yeah. Well, if you
or
put that in
okay,
https:// then people
okay,
can actually click the link.
okay.
Yep. So I think this has been a really amazing conversation. We covered some ground that I had no idea we were going to cover, and I like that. I always like to be surprised, and I think we also provided some pretty powerful tools for people to take with them, and maybe even bring into their own whatever kinds of situations that they have during the holiday season, and hopefully find a way to have true joy for themselves for the holiday. Linda, it's been a real pleasure and an honor to have you here again. Is there anything you'd like to say as in the form of final words before I close out the program?
Find a way for yourself to connect with those that you love, with laughter, with action, play, sing, do the things that you enjoy so that you can actually enjoy the holidays. And if there is something that may have happened that is a trauma or a tragedy that you're still navigating, that be kind to yourself. And if you need some support on that journey, reach out and we can talk.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Linda, again, it's been a fabulous conversation. I just want to thank you once again for being here. It's been way too long, and hopefully, it won't be so long till the next time we get together. So, thank you. And to all of you who are watching, I just want to say, the holiday season doesn't need to be a source of stress. By setting realistic expectations, practicing gratitude, sharing responsibilities, simplifying plans, incorporating self care, and prioritizing meaningful connections by using some of the tools that we shared here today, you can transform the season into a time of genuine joy. True essence of the holidays lies in the love, warmth, and togetherness that you share with everyone else. So thank you all for watching today's program. And remember, you can catch the recordings of this and every other episode on my website at lifemasterytv.com. And finally, friends, I invite you to remember to practice my life mastery mantra every day. It goes like this: I gratefully forgive the imperfect being I have been in the past. I gratefully accept the magnificent being I am right now. I gratefully welcome the evolved being I am becoming in each new moment. So until we meet again, my name is David McLeod. I am your life mastery coach, and I am wishing you love, light, and blessings during the holidays and throughout your life. So I'll see you next time on Life Mastery TV. Bye-bye.